Hi, everyone. This is Jeff Clark of the Paydirt Prospector here in beautiful Vancouver at the Metals Investor Forum. And right now I am with Keith Bodnarchuk. Did I say it right?
Close enough.
It probably is butchered a lot, right? So
yeah, all good.
The CEO of Cosa Resources, a stock. I really like this as a great discovery type speculation. One of the things that I like to look for right now. So Keith, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, pleasure to be here, Jeff, and pleasure to be talking to you.
Yeah. So as always, we start with the people, and there's a pretty good team behind COSA here that have made discoveries before, that have had success. So tell us just briefly about the team that's behind COSA Resources, helping them to try to find a discovery.
Yeah, certainly. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. We do have a team with a track record of making discoveries, specifically in the Athabasca Basin in Saskatchewan, Canada. That's obviously where COSA Resources is looking to make that next great discovery. Our team has ties back to NextGen Energy. That was Craig Perry, who's part of our group. He was a founding director of NextGen. Denison Mines, I spent 9 years, got to work on the Phoenix Discovery, Griffin Discovery. Steve Blower, our chairman of COSA, but the former VP of Exploration of Denison, and also ISO Energy, was part of the Hurricane Discovery. Andy Carmichael was also part of the Hurricane Discovery for ISO Energy. So we've really had our fingerprints on a lot of discoveries in this part of the world over the past 15 years. And we're looking to do it again here with COSA Resources.
And you have a lot of projects. You also have Denison in one of your projects. So tell us, I don't know where to begin with all your projects, but why don't you run through where you're at and where you're focused at right now?
Yeah, certainly. So I think the thing with uranium exploration is that you do need a lot of projects because you're going to flip through them quite quickly. You're going to drill your best targets, and then you're going to move on until you ultimately make that discovery. You kind of the drill it and kill it approach. We managed to piece together some really good projects. I think what we were lacking were ones that were kind of located in this one area of the eastern Athabasca Basin where there's a lot of amazing deposits and amazing mines. And so we managed to do a deal with Denison Mines that was closed earlier this year, whereby we acquired a 70% interest in 3 projects from them. And in return, they became our largest and most strategic shareholder, controlling just about 19% of our stock. They've also put up their hand when we've raised money to maintain that 19%. And they've also continued to support at a JV level when we've been exploring those projects. The biggest one would be Murphy Lake, biggest ones I'd say would be Murphy Lake North, which is located right next to the Hurricane deposit. Conveniently, our team found that during our time at ISO Energy. And so we're very familiar with the geology in that area. And then the other one would be Darby, which is right next to Cigar Lake, which is one of the largest uranium mines in the world. And so having them there as a strategic shareholder and, having them there at both a corporate level and a project level, has been
they're
huge
helping
for us.
Technically with this as well.
For sure. I think, the beauty of it is I can kind of just sit back and let, our team kind of mix with their team. And there's a lot of discoveries under the belt in that room. And, there's a lot of good geoscience that goes into this targeting. And they've been absolutely tremendous partners to work with.
That's great. So where are you focused now? Where's drilling now? When we be doing drilling next? What's going on with drilling right now?
Yeah, so we wrapped up our first program at Murphy Lake North, which is right next to the Hurricane deposit. We hit some very interesting results, some indicators that could potentially lead to us making a discovery on these projects. I think the thing to understand with uranium deposits in the Athabasca Basin is they're quite highly concentrated, but quite small footprint. And so in order to locate these things, what happens is when they form, there's a whole bunch of fluid that's flowing through the ground there, and it precipitates out the uranium, but also creates this massive alteration halo. And when you're looking to make these discoveries, you usually hit the alteration halo first. And then from there, you'll start to try and vector towards.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so we started to hit, interesting looking alteration on that Murphy Lake North project. So we left a drill on site. We're going to go back there in January and follow it up.
So you can drill there in the winter.
Absolutely. It's easy to drill in the winter in Saskatchewan. The good thing is that all the lakes freeze then and there's easy access into areas.
Gotcha.
And the good news about Murphy Lake North is it's right next to ISO Energy that's actively drilling. It's right next to Cameco. It's a very busy area. It's a well-located area. It's shallow targets and it's very cost-effective exploration. So we'll be going there, and then we'll also be drilling our Darby project next year.
You will. Okay. So drilling will start up again in January. And do you have a sense for how big that program will be?
So the Murphy Lake North one, we finished 8 holes in the summer this year. Our winter program should at least be that. Coming up, winter and summer program should at least be that. We're still early in planning. We have to have our joint venture meetings with Denison to finalize targets. But I think it's important to note that that program ended up costing us around 1.3, 1.4 million total. And then Denison came in for their 30% of the project to help. So it is very cost-effective exploration.
Well, it really is.
Yeah.
Do you plan to drill Darby next year as well?
Yeah, for sure. We'd like to get to Darby. Also, it was a big part of us doing that transaction with Denison. Obviously, it's great to have a partner as strong as Denison, but it was important for us to get high quality projects where we felt we had an opportunity to make a discovery. And Darby's an amazing project. It's huge. It hasn't really seen drilling in like 10 or 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And it's, like I said, it's along the similar trends as Cigar Lake, which is one of the largest uranium mines. It's within 10 kilometers of that. And it just hasn't had modern exploration, modern drilling really in the past 10 or 15 years. And so we're excited to go there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow. So the catalyst for the next 6, 10, 12 months, can you walk us through that? What might an investor see in terms of a potential catalyst for the stock?
Yeah, I mean, drilling is the biggest catalyst for a junior uranium company like us. I think what you're seeing, though, also in the uranium space is you've seen the Camecos and a lot of developers be at all-time highs. And what you're seeing now is the junior stocks are actually starting to trickle up. And so I think there's a lot of momentum in the uranium space, which could really help COSA. And then when you mix in our upcoming catalysts with drilling, I mean, it's all about drilling for us. Next 6 to 12 months, we'll be actively drilling as much as we can.
Tell us about the share structure, because you don't have a lot of shares out necessarily for the stage you're in.
Yeah, for sure. So
tell us about your financials too.
Yeah, so we have 88 million shares outstanding. Denison owns about 19% of us. Our team still controls about 15% of that, and we do have a lot of long uranium funds that have continued to support us. We've obviously had long-standing relationships with them through ISO, Denison, NextGen.
So you've got the stock in a lot of strong hands.
For sure. And that was important for us. I think when we go back to ISO Energy, when we discovered that Hurricane deposit, we went from 20 cents up to $6.50 throughout that 18 months. And a big part of that was obviously we hit some of the highest grade uranium that you can in the world. But also we had NextGen as a huge shareholder, and we had really strategic funds put in there. So if you do have that success, you can really see a torque up in your share price.
Oh, yeah.
And bringing on Denison, bringing in these strategic funds, having ourselves, own a lot of the stock. We've done our best to replicate that same scenario so that if we do have success of the drill bit coming up here in the next, few months, that you should see our share price appreciate in a similar fashion.
Make a discovery in the Athabasca, and it's just going to go. And it hasn't taken off yet. So this is an opportunity to get into a stock that hasn't really left the station yet.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Now, money-wise, do you have enough money?
So we're about 3.5 million Canadian in the bank. Like I said, our programs at Murphy Lake North usually cost us around 1.3, 1.4 million. So we're in good shape heading into the winter season to get drilling. Great. And anytime we've had to finance, we've managed to put it in pretty strong hands, and having Denison there alongside is huge for a company of our size.
Oh yeah, great. Well, it's an exciting opportunity. It's a discovery speculation. I'm long. I'm invested in it. I like the odds they hear. Greatest uranium jurisdiction in the world with a crack team trying to identify targets. So very good speculation. Check it out. Keith, thanks for joining me.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff.